Lead. How this story ends is up to us. A true story written by Shannon Burkett, directed by Alan Taylor, starring Merritt Wever, Alessandro Nivola, Cynthia Nixon, and me, Cooper Burkett.
In July of 2012, I noticed. How had I not noticed this? How? Cooper had been... He was eating his bed. The wooden frame of his bed looked like a woodchuck went to town on it. Chunks of wood, large bites of wood, gone. You could see his teeth marks. How did I not see this? I hadn't been reading books in his room because I couldn't navigate the bunk beds with all of my surgeries. How did I let this happen to him? Cancer was nothing in comparison to having a sick child. I failed my son. May of 2013, when Cooper was in kindergarten, he did not have a kick-ass, badass teacher, and that year was a challenge. And by the end, his stomach was causing him so much pain that his gastroenterologist performed another endoscopy. This time he had a small ulcer, but the doctor was more concerned about the biopsies, which revealed damage to the tissue in the lining of his stomach. In a 5-year-old's stomach. Why? Was it the lead? The eating of non-food items? The wood, the sheetrock, the cardboard, the rocks, the towels, the foam, the clothes? He had been eating the sleeves off his shirts, and when I cut the sleeves off, he began to chew on his arms. He would have bruises, bite marks. Dr. Nikki, what is going on? Have you ever seen anything like this?
Cooper's pica is above and beyond anything I have previously encountered.
You've never seen pica like this?
Not in my 20 years of practice, no.
Lead causes pica.
Pica causes lead poisoning.
He had the lead poisoning before the pica. If Cooper never had been lead poisoned, do you think he'd be eating his bed?
No. How does lead cause pica?
Trying to unravel this mystery sent me down a cause and effect rabbit hole. Did the lead cause the anemia, which then caused the compulsion to eat non-food items? Anemia has caused pica. Malnourished women and children were eating clay during the Great Depression. Or did the lead cause a version of obsessive-compulsive disorder? OCD manifested itself in compulsive eating. Or was it the pain in his stomach? Was he trying to stop the pain? Cooper, do you remember why?
No, Mom, I don't. I have memory loss. I do remember how much my stomach hurt, and still can.
And you catch every stomach flu.
And it takes me so much longer to get over it.
In kindergarten, when Cooper had all his stomach issues, he was on this medication that he had to take 30 minutes before every meal. So I had to go to his school and administer it while he was at recess. He would just lie on the bench while the other kids played. And one evening, everything caught up with me. Cooper, cancer, the insomnia, the nightly panic attacks that would jolt me out of sleep, the never-ending anxiety that would rob me of even just one moment of peace. During dinner, I could feel it. The breakdown began. I was disconnecting, dissociating. The voices around me growing distant. I numbly stood up. I found my way to the bathroom, barely able to lock the door, when I crumpled onto the floor and couldn't move.
What happened? Are you all right? Do I need to take you to the hospital? Shannon, talk to me, please. Just say something, anything, baby, please.
I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore.
Okay.
I can't take it anymore.
Okay, you just can't take it. It's just too much. So you're okay?
It has to stop.
I know. You're okay. You're okay.
My mom was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. She worked hard on getting better. Therapy, medication, writing, exercise, yoga, meditation. All the steps to reduce stress and reset her nervous system.
And so, of course, I went to nursing school because that's not stressful at all.
I got to go to her graduation. She gave a speech. The whole crowd was so moved. people came up to her afterwards. How do you do that? How do you make people listen to you?
Talk to them. From your heart.
The lawsuit dragged on for about 6 years. Shannon was very, very determined to hold him accountable.
My first deposition lasted 3 days.
Then we went to mediation, after hours of insulting settlement offers.
It was obviously going nowhere, so the lawyers started a new tactic, threatening us.
If you don't settle, we're going to countersue you. For what? For being bad parents.
Go ahead. We're done here.
I couldn't believe Andy said that to them.
And they actually countersued us.
For being bad parents, I asked our lawyers if we could countersue them for being horrible human beings. The next round of depositions lasted 2 days. That's 5 days in total, just for me. For the record, that's not normal. The defendants brought in all these other defendants, and for those deposition days, there were 11 lawyers and me. 11 lawyers questioning just me.
But because all the subcontractors were brought into the case, they all had to be deposed, under oath. So we were able to learn what was really going on that first day of the dust infestation.
That day all those years ago when the contractor told me it must be the holes in our apartment.
At some point in time, you had mentioned as demolition proceeded, there was a gap that was discovered in the ceiling above the bank area and the floors above it. What was that gap in the particular place you saw it?
There were gaps in the exterior column and enclosures, also gaps in the ceiling.
Do you remember approximately how many days, weeks, months into the project that this was discovered?
First day.
The first day.
The contractor knew the first day how the dust was getting into our apartment.
The gaps around the columns in the store space, not imaginary holes in our apartment, but real gaps in the store space.
And what was done when the gaps were discovered?
We covered holes with plastic tape so the dust wouldn't enter. Then I notified the bank of the existing condition.
The first day, the subcontractor notified the bank.
And they covered the gaps with tape. Tape.
And then my case got assigned a judge who told the defendant's lawyer to come back with an offer that was not an insult. And they came back with an offer. And the judge and our lawyers left my mom and dad alone in the judge's chamber to discuss.
No.
Shannon.
Don't make me do this.
No, I'm not going to make you
I'm
do
not
anything.
settling.
This is your
I
decision.
am not settling.
I know that
I am
word.
not giving up.
You're not giving up.
I won't give up on him.
You never have.
I won't fail him
You're
again.
not.
If I settle, then I am saying what happened is okay.
No, you're not. We've been fighting this case for almost 6 years, baby. 6 years of our lives.
I can't say that this is how much my son's brain is worth.
No amount of money.
I wanted them in jail.
That's not going to happen. How far do you want to go with this?
As far as it takes.
Shannon, you could take this to trial, and things may not go his way.
No, that's not possible. No jury would find for these...
I know what you want. You want justice.
No jury would find for these monsters.
But what if they do?
I can do it, Andy. I can hold them accountable.
And what if the jury rules against
They
you?
won't.
I think if the jury ruled against him, it would kill you, baby. You would never recover from that. I don't know how many times I can pick you up off the floor.
Because it won't happen. I will hold them responsible.
But at what cost, baby? Your health, our family's sanity. I love you because you're so passionate and you can fight like no one I've ever known, but you had cancer.
Cooper being sick was worse.
Yes, it was awful. We have had back-to-back non-stop awful years, but he's finally a bit better, and you're better. Can we just live our lives now? Please. I'm asking you to do this for me, for your family.
I want justice for my son.
And you will get it for him.
What if they do this to another child?
Someday, you will tell his story. That is how you will hold him accountable. When he is old enough, you and Cooper will tell the world and stop this from happening to any kid ever again.
I'm not settling unless Cooper owns his story. I am not signing any agreement to stay quiet.
Of course.
That is his story. That is his life, and they are not buying his life too.
Baby, please, let's enjoy our family. We've earned that. A trial will consume you.
I failed him.
You didn't. Please, Shannon, please, for me, for the kids, Can this finally be over? Can we live our lives now?
If I do this, if I agree to this, don't ever say I didn't fail him, because I did.
Baby.
Just don't.
Okay.
And so they settled. During grammar school, the coasting years, I had OT and counseling in school as well as testing accommodations. My parents scaffolded me with tutors outside of school. I was dancing and playing sports and took up the piano and drums, and I had a great group of friends. I had so much fun. My health was up and down, but my stomach was more under control as well as my aggression. No more writing apology notes. Yay. And while I tended to get sick more than other kids, I was doing good. In middle school, my teachers advised putting me in an ICT class, meaning 15 general ed children and 10 special ed kids. I was one of the special ed kids, mostly to help with my processing issues and memory loss. But adolescence and puberty hit me like a ton of bricks. All these hormones and emotions, and I started feeling out of control again. Everything was going dark.
Toddlers and teenagers are very similar in development. They are both insane. Teenagers are just armed with more language. And then the pandemic happened. Cooper is an incredibly social kid. He thrives around people and physical activity, and both were taken away. Add the hormones, and he started to slip back into the darkness, once again trapped in his mind.
Cooper, my name is Dr. Bott. I'm with the Child Study Center, and I'm here to help you if you'd like.
I think so.
Thank you, Cooper. Thank you.
The pandemic...
I know, it has been devastating for kids. Children who have had lead poisoning can have difficulty regulating their emotions. Puberty can exacerbate this. Cooper?
Yes?
What do you feel you want to work on?
My anger issues. I can't stop lashing out.
And when he...
Shannon, just a moment. Let's allow Cooper to finish.
Of course.
This crushing feeling grips my chest, and all these dark thoughts flood my brain, and I feel like I lose control. How do I stop that?
Well, the first thing to do is recognize it. If you want, we can work together to help you understand where the emotions are coming from and give you tools to deal with them. Would you like that?
Yes. Yes, I would. Thank you.
I began working with the team at NYU's Child Study Center, and over the years, I've learned to manage my emotions and take that rage, the tornado that used to spin me out of control, and turn it into just a windy day. And then one day, out of the blue,
I was scrolling through Instagram and saw Vice President Harris announce the Biden-Harris Lead Pipe and Paint Action Plan,
which allocated billions to the eradication of this perfectly preventable disease.
In all the years we'd been dealing with lead, this was the first administration to make the eradication of lead a priority. For the first time in all those years, I had hope.
So, of course, she burst into tears. Like ugly sobs. 15 billion? That's a lot of money, Mom.
It's a start. It may be time.
To tell my story?
I wanted you to be old enough to make that decision.
I am.
You are. UNICEF reports that almost a third of the world's children have elevated lead levels.
800 million children.
Listen, this is your story. You don't have to do this. This is your decision.
What am I going to say? F those kids?
You don't have to do this.
I just don't want anyone to pity me.
I understand. But there can be a power in telling your story.
Will you help me?
Of course, son.
What the world needs now is joy and resistance.
We started in our own backyard, working with different organizations on the roadmap to end lead poisoning.
This roadmap was created by the New York City Coalition to End Lead Poisoning, an alliance of doctors, lawyers, and advocates.
Our involvement quickly jumped to include action on the state level. I was asked to join lobbying day in Albany with these various organizations.
Cooper Square Committee, Lead Dust Free NYC.
Earth Justice.
The Natural Resources Defense Council.
We Act, Lead Free Kids New York.
Clean and healthy. I want to thank everyone for coming all the way to Albany to lobby for stronger lead laws. Being here shows your representative that you care about this issue, and your being here has impact. I see some new faces.
I'm Shannon.
I'm Cooper.
Welcome. We're happy to have you. Everyone has been broken up into teams, and your team leader will guide you through the schedule that is in the folder I emailed to you. You get 30 minutes max with each representative. Make it count, people. We can do this. In these meetings, our goal is to get as many senators and assembly persons as we can to co-sponsor this bill. The higher the number of co-sponsors, the higher the chance this bill actually passes. But if they will not co-sponsor, we will ask for the representatives' support and a commitment to vote yes. Just briefly tell them how lead has impacted your family, and if you can tie it into the legislation we are proposing, even better.
Does my hair look okay?
Here. It's his first time.
You'll be great. I've known this chief staffer for a long time. He's lovely.
Cooper and I followed our team leader into our first meeting with the chief staffer. We were going around the room introducing ourselves, but when it came time for Cooper to introduce himself, he got a little nervous and just jumped right into his story.
Hi, my name is Cooper Burkett. I'm 15 years old, and I was diagnosed with lead poisoning when I was 9 months old. The construction site below our apartment contaminated our apartment with lead dust, and I got sick.
The room became very quiet. I realized from the look on her face that the clean and healthy rep didn't know his story. I followed up with the dust and pica photos, and when we were finished, the chief staffer said,
I'm so sorry, I'm confused. I thought we took care of lead.
I looked to my mom because I didn't know how to respond.
Lead had dominated our lives, and in that moment, Cooper and I realized,
people just don't know.
I remember 20, even 30 years ago writing legislation to reduce lead exposure. I thought we were done, but from what you're telling me, lead is still a problem?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
How can I help?
I can talk to these people all day until I'm blue in the face with facts and stats, but this kid put a face to those numbers, and he had their attention. I needed to change our strategy for the day.
I need him next. My 11:30 hasn't committed.
Cooper, I'm going to move your schedule around a bit. Do you need lunch, or can you go straight through?
Straight through. Let's do this. You have that green bar, right?
Yeah.
We went from room to room, and what became very apparent
very quickly
is that people just didn't know.
How did I not know this?
I didn't know either before this happened to us.
87% of children under the age of 6 who were diagnosed with lead in NYC come from impoverished neighborhoods. 85% of those children are Asian, Hispanic, or Black.
These are the families in my district, my families.
Lead steals a child's potential, their possibilities, the future they were meant to live.
Kids who have been affected by lead are more likely to have learning disabilities.
ADHD, conduct disorder, these kids go to school and are labeled
the bad kid.
I can tell you that they are not bad kids, and they did not ask for this to happen to them. But they do need our help.
But lead doesn't really concern our constituents.
Have you heard of Nevin's study?
In the 60s, there had been an unexplained dramatic rise in violent crime and an equally unexplained dramatic fall of violent crime starting in the 90s.
No one knew why. Lots of theories.
So Nevin took the U-curve of violent crime, set a 23-year lag, and superimposed it on the curve, representing when lead was added to gasoline and when they removed it from gasoline.
His research supports the theory that children who were exposed to lead from gasoline grew up to disproportionately commit violent crimes, and when the lead was removed, the violent crimes went down.
And when Nevin applied this to different countries all around the world,
the findings were the same.
If Nevin is correct, 90% of the increase in violent crimes between the 60s through the early 90s was the direct result of lead in gasoline.
I can only tell you what I saw with my own eyes. My Buddha baby turned into a roided up NFL player. The rage was not normal.
There was that lead in those applesauce things.
I never thought it would happen to us until it did.
My district has been dealing with lead in our water pipes.
Hey, in Erie County, we got all this old housing stock and no money to fix it. Now, what is going to happen to these children?
Cooper has had 2 neuropsych evaluations,
which is a comprehensive analysis of behavior, intelligence, and evaluation for learning disabilities.
One when he was 6 years old and one when he was 12, and it is eerie, no pun intended, how similar they are. Both show significant deficits in expressive speech. He lost the ability to speak when his levels were elevated, and now it manifests itself in difficulty with writing. And both confirmed that
I have short-term memory loss.
Cooper still gets his memories mixed up.
I think someone else's story is in my memory. I'll retell a story thinking it happened to me.
So you're telling me this is very dangerous stuff?
Yes.
Who's going to pay for this?
All of us will in the long run. We all pay for lead. Analysis sets the cost of lead poisoning at over $6 billion between healthcare, school support, loss of work, all caused by deficits.
The EPA has allocated the money. The state of New York just has to spend it.
Well, this sounds very expensive.
Do you know what it takes to safely remove lead from walls?
You encase the area with plastic and spray water with a special chemical.
So the dust doesn't get released into the air.
Yes. The proper PPE training certification is required, but
it's not rocket science.
It is way more costly to clean up lead once the dust has been released into the home.
Who's next?
We were done for that day. The first of many trips to Albany. In 2023, 3 of the laws we lobbied for passed, including the Lead Pipe Right to Know Act, which requires municipalities to inform the public on where lead pipes are located in the community. For Earth Day, Cooper was invited to testify before the Committee for Health, Housing, and Buildings in New York City. This hearing was held to discuss strengthening lead laws and determine budgetary recommendations that would reduce lead exposure.
When I walked into City Hall, I was definitely intimidated. The room looked like a movie set. And then when I learned lawyers representing certain landlords and real estate developers were there and going to testify after me, they were going to try and downplay the effects of lead, I knew I needed to center myself.
My tie? Can you get the collar?
Yep.
I'll get it. The hair?
Looking good. I love you.
I love you too.
You got this, baby.
Hello? Okay. Hi, my name is Cooper Burkett. I'm 15 years old and I grew up here in Lower Manhattan. I was diagnosed with lead poisoning when I was 9 months old. The construction site below our apartment contaminated our apartment with lead dust and I got sick. My parents were told repeatedly by the contractor that there was nothing in the dust.
What the world needs now is love and resistance. What the world needs now is hope and resistance. We will fight the good fight.
Lead was produced by Shannon Burkett, co-produced by Jenny McGuire. Featuring Amy Acker, Tom Butler, Dennis T. Carnegie, James Carpinello, Geneva Carr, Dan Fink, Alice Kris, Adrienne Lennox, Katie O'Sullivan, Greg Parenti, Amanda Risco, Shirley Ramirek, Tom Sesma, and Lana Young. Casting by Alaine, Alldaffer, and Lisa Donadio. Music by Peter Salette. Joy and Resistance by Resistance Revival Chorus. Sound design by Andy Kris. Recording engineer Krissopher Chevannes. For corresponding visuals and more information on how to protect children from lead exposure, please go to endleadpoisoning.org.